Alright, so that last video cut off because I ran out of storage space on my phone. So I deleted some shit. Gave me some time to kind of think about upside, guaranteed upside, based on years of trend analysis, history repeating itself. So as I was saying, Nintendo Wii is one of the best-selling consoles of all time. It might be the best-selling. I don't know if PS2 is. I don't know. Doesn't mean I don't know shit. Doesn't mean I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. But I don't know exactly. North American figures, because that's all I care about is North American. I don't really care about Japanese or European stuff. We're talking software. We're talking speculating on video game upside. And we're talking American games, baby. That's the golden standard. Not into that import stuff. So anyways, Nintendo Wii. Tons of people had it. Tons of people collect video games. Tons of people followed the herd and said, Wii, I don't want Wii. I don't want Wii stuff in my collection. I don't like those white spines. I don't like those white video games. I don't like white stuff. I don't like it. It's cheap. That's the big reason why I don't like it. It's cheap. If I ever do like it, it'll be cheap, and I'll just buy it because it's cheap. I don't need to worry about it. I want that expensive stuff because I'm a video game collector. I want that stuff that I see other people posting on social media that gets all the reactions. That's what I want. I see it with Sega Saturn. I see it with high-end NES stuff. You know, that's what I want. I don't want Wii. Wii's overlooked. You know, there you go. Hey, there you go. That's why you go for Wii right now. But at the same time, you know, you don't want to go for, because the same thing could be said 20 years ago about Philips CDI stuff. Be like, man, nobody's into this stuff. It's pretty cheap. Oh, I got this genius idea. I'm gonna go for it. It wasn't so genius. That was not a good move. If that's what you were feeling, then your senses were off. There's just no nostalgia there. There's no reason why anybody would ever go back to it. No quality, nothing to be enjoyed there. It's just rare. It's just a thrill to hunt is the only thing that you could say is fun about collecting Philips CDI. I just have fun checking them off the list, you know. Every time I go to a new game store, I always ask them, you guys got CDI stuff? And I make this funny face at them, and half the time the owners will reciprocate and give me a funny look too, and I just love it. I'm just that quirky Philips CDI guy. I'm Philips CDI guy. That guy stinks. Nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody likes that guy. That's why Philips CDI stuff sucks. Because there are Philips CDI guys, and they all are exactly what I just acted out there. That's a Philips CDI guy. Nintendo Wii, though, got some good shit on that console. And the fact that there was so much garbage shit helps kind of disguise that good shit. Just throw one out there. Fishing Resort. You know about Fishing Resort? It sounds like poopy shovelware, doesn't it? Even if you look at it, it kind of looks like poopy shovelware. The only thing that kind of makes it not look so poopy is you see in the bottom right corner, you see Xseed, and you go, oh, Xseed, that means something to me. My fucking video game collector reseller correlation senses are tingling with Xseed. I don't know, something's fucking tingling. I don't know why. Yeah, you do. Because fucking Working Designs 2.0, motherfucker. It's Xseed. Low print, fucking great games, collectible shit. It's Xseed. You look on the back of that fucking fishing game, and it says, oh, what's his name? Yuji Naka. Miso Sari, whoever the dude that made Sonic. Yuji Naka. Who's the Shenmue guy? Yu Suzuki? Some Japanese guy. The guy that made Sonic. He made Fishing Resort. He also did Ivy the Kiwi. Also published by Xseed, so there's a little bit of embeddedness there. Sega, an Xseed, UG Naka. But anyways, these are good games that I'm talking about, and they're low print. They are going to be your top tiers. They stand out to me on the Wii like Snatcher and all the working designs games, Earthworm Jim Special, all these fucking higher end. They already stood out a little bit in value on the Sega CD way back in the day, and they never demand for them never went away. There were always a supply and demand imbalance, and it only got bigger and bigger as the system got more and more popular to collect. So I'm getting too specific here. I'm not giving lots of good info. That's the idea here. Let's just talk about generalities, not be so specific. Nintendo Wii in general, it's good to target the collectible stuff. The more common it is, the more it has to be backed by tremendous demand. It has to be an IP that's just fucking huge. So when I think Zelda, I think Skyward Sword. I think naturally the bigger box set that came with the gold Wiimote. That would be a better investment to pay whatever that's going for right now, straight up quote unquote retail on eBay, win an auction for a nice box that has the gold Wiimote and everything, full CIB. And that's going to be a decent investment as far as 10 years from now, what you're going to have in your hands. Even a fucking CIB, as long as it's got the soundtrack in there, I like it. It's 10 times more scarce than Twilight Princess. It's a must for every Zelda fan. It will eventually be remade for a future Nintendo product, possibly the Switch, but it won't have the exact same feel as the original Wii version that used Wiimotes, you know? So there you go. That's kind of like, I kick myself for not hoarding Fire Emblems. Why did I always sell my Fire Emblems every time I had them? It's because it was worth a little bit of money and I could always use a little bit of money. So all my Path of Radiances over the years are all sold. But currently, I have a nice stash of Skyward Swords because I'm not going to fucking sell it for $25, $30. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to set them aside. I think 50, 60 would kind of speak to me a little more. But hey, that's how I felt about Fire Emblem. 60, 70, ooh, hot potato it. I want that thing gone. So anyways, the Wii just in general, I think is going to become more collected, more popular to collect. You already hear the experts advise to us sheep people, us collectors. They tell us 360 is good to go for now while it's cheap. Get it while it's cheap. 7th generation PS3, Nintendo Wii. Yeah, go to GameStop when it's buy two, get two. It's good advice. It's fucking gee-whiz common sense advice, of course. So everybody's doing it now. So it'll take a couple years before the supply and demand imbalance really kicks in. Because right now everybody's feasting on it. So it's happening right now. You're missing out if you're not going for that stuff right now. That's what people are loading up on. What happens is as they acquire those titles, as they get their hands on what are elite tier collectible Wii games right now, they share it on social media. So that's like spreading the poison or the jizz. The way I like to look at it like fucking jizz. Like, that's good stuff, man. You fucking come all over the place with that good knowledge, you know. Get yourself Ju-On the Grudge on the Wii. Just pick it up at GameStop. Fucking show that thing off all over social media. Get all those fucking heart reactions, all those things that release dopamine in your system. The reason why you're on Facebook. The more people do that, the more they create the supply and the demand imbalance for Ju-On. Well, they're creating a demand surge by subliminally putting it in people's minds. Like, man, you fucking put out I picked up Ju-On for whatever GameStop sells it for. During buy two, get one free. I'm so happy. You get a fuck ton of hearts and shit, social media shit. there's many people that popped up on their wall feed, and they're a little envious of your 50 fucking heart reactions you got on your fucking chew on. And now they're like, fuck, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I ever get chew on. I'm gonna fucking, you know how it goes. The rest is history. Once a title shows itself to be top tier, then the next part of the formula is this going to become more and more popular to collect? If the answer is yes, then your top tiers are guaranteed good investments. Let me just say real quick, good investments, like a fucking real world shit is always a better investment than video games. But if you're talking about having fun, dabbling with money in this hobby, where you're both enjoying the games and turning a profit on your collection when you get out of it, or at the very least, you're making all your money back. Heed my wisdom here. Chew on. I'll give you a few specific examples before I move on to another library that I see fantastic upside in. But on the Wii, really, I'm actively gunning down stuff on the Wii, so I can just think of what I'm starting to hoard. But there's a few titles. Speaking of gunning on the Wii, there's a few titles that I have had trouble getting my hands on, which makes me extremely erect for them. Like, if I'm having trouble getting it, a lot of times it's because I'm fucking stubborn, and I remember what it used to be not too long ago, or remember the copies I once had. Anyways, Gunblade, New York, and LA Machine Guns 2-pack on the Nintendo Wii. Published and developed by Sega, released in the mid-90s in the arcades, never brought over to consoles until the Wii, and they've aged so fucking well. Play very nicely on the Wii motion controls. It's a genre that's fantastic for the Wii. It's going to age well, much like shooters on the TurboGrafx. It's your on-rails light gun shooters, your arcade-style gun games on the Wii. Those are going to age very, very well. So that's an extremely rare one. Makes me sick because I once had a decent stash of sealed ones that I got for nothing at AFES when I was in the Air Force. AFES was a weird distributor of games because oftentimes I would just check out their clearance section. They would always be clearing out like stuff that had been in the store for a couple years. There was no rhyme or reason to it. It was just X amount of time goes by, and when they want it gone, they just discount it down to like sub $5. But their selection was always weird. Like, they would have a high quantity of certain titles that I just would never see at GameStops. Remember Dokapon Kingdom on the Wii? They had tons of those, and I didn't buy them because it just looked dumb to me, like a $10 game. But anyways, I don't want to get off on an AFES storytelling tangent. But that was just one that, because it was so dirt dog cheap, I managed to get a nice little stack of them, all factory sealed. And it was very tempting to sell them when it was $25-$30, given what I had into them. So let them all go. Now that game is top tier, and I could see it becoming a $200 Wii game. Sounds absurd, but it does not surface. I've got it on my safe search on eBay. That's really how you start to get the feel for things, is when you decide, you think to yourself long enough, you say, yep, I feel it. I agree with Dave's speculation here. I think Wii is going to become more popular to collect, and therefore what is already considered top tier chase pieces, if you will, those are just going to keep going up. So I want to gun down these chase pieces. Well, I've had Gunblade New York on my save search for months now, and it does not pop up often at all. Maybe twice a month you get an opportunity to buy one for around $75. So there's a good one. All right, I can't get too specific on titles because I'll fucking do what I just did and talk 5 minutes about a single goddamn game. Target Terror, it's one I've stashed up. GTI Club, another Konami game. GTI Club, for what it costs right now, for how goddamn rare that game is for the content that it has. Konami, it just has a good formula for value there. I really like GTI Club. I shouldn't be being specific. Broad, general, Wii, good stuff. Wii, top tiers, good stuff. Wii, first party is always more common. Even your Metroid Prime Trilogy original print steelbook is much more common than a lot of the titles I just mentioned. More common than Target Terror, Opuna, all these fucking cool, rare Wii games. However, Metroid in general has 100 times the fan base, the collectible allure. I need to have that versus like, yeah, I want that. Arc-Rise Fantasia on Wii, you know, Ju-On, even more niche, a niche demand. It tends to be a more intelligent demand too. Like your demand pool behind some of those more niche titles tend to be your smarter, savvier, more experienced people that know to kind of be patient. However, Nintendo first-party stuff, as soon as there's a supply and demand imbalance and there's a demand surge from something, you know, like Metroid Prime 4 getting announced, like Metroid Prime Trilogy Steelbook would double in value instantly. So all the supply would just evaporate. People would wisely start fishing out copies for twice as much as it's ever sold for. And they'd start getting bites, and it would just teleport, it would just jump to a new value. So that's the deal with like your first party stuff. It's going to be more common, so the tides are, you know, they don't move quite as quickly when there's not a storm brewing. When a storm comes in, you get a storm surge. Sometimes it changes the landscape permanently. Like Fire Emblem, I feel like once Path of Radiance eclipsed $100, it was just this beacon of notice me that made everybody want it. Collectors want it. It was like a status thing. It's gone like full Earthbound, kind of same kind of thing where it's not, yeah, you don't even call it rare. It's just uncommon, but it's like a badge of accomplishment for a noob collector to acquire a piece like that. So keep that in mind. You know, that's one thing I do like about your harder to find Nintendo first party great IP stuff is that, you're just certain to have upside there. It just may not be as, I don't know. Of course it's dynamic, but you got to wait for the storm. You got to wait for that IP to rejuvenate with the announcement of a new entry in the series or whatever it may be. Smash Brothers, you know, all of a sudden fucking Martha's in Smash, and there you go. That's a Fire Emblem story. Versus like Ju-On. Ju-On could just pop off at any second due to a bidding war. Just two people that have a few copies of it saying, hey, let's fuck with this game. Let's manipulate the market. And we'll just pick off the few that are buy it now listed on eBay so that there's basically none except for that guy that's auctioning one. And then we'll fake a bidding war for it. We'll just pop it off to $140 and it'll just never come back down because it's rare enough to not come back down. People are going to notice how much it just went for and they're just going to want it even more. Suddenly it's going to have a supply and demand imbalance simply because we shilled the fuck out of an auction. You know? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, fucking replay what I just said. I was on fire there. Fire tongue. It's exactly how it goes with these rarer titles. People don't want it until they see it's proven itself to be valuable. And you can fake that shit. You can shill. It happens all the time. So, Nintendo first party stuff is too common to try to do that kind of shit with. You really need the entire tide to move. You know, a huge surge of demand. But that's just guaranteed to happen with Nintendo IPs. So, lastly, because I'm burnt out and I'm at the house now, Wii, guaranteed upside. I'll give you one more. There's more I could think about and talk about maybe for a future video, but Sega Genesis. Been saying this for a long time. been saying Neo Geo Pocket for a long time, but that's in pretty much full blossom now because of all the YouTubers that are jerking off to Neo Geo Pocket now, which is fantastic. Love it. Glad that they're doing that. Sega Genesis, I'm feeling a massive supply and demand imbalance. A metric that you can look for is when you're trying to acquire this stuff on eBay, and I'll just shmups on Genesis are an obvious genre to gun down. And I would use a specific title, Vapor Trail, published by Renovation. Very good shooter, fantastic music in that game, by the way. Vapor Trail is really cool. Extremely rare. I think I would bet that it's rarer than Musha. It certainly surfaces less often, but it also doesn't command the same value, so there's less incentive for people to list it. Therefore, it could be, you know, sleeper, like more common than it appears. Just nobody wants to sell it for $150 right now, kind of thing. But Musha, they're like, yeah, I could use that money. I'll sell my Musha. You know what I'm saying, right? Like the more expensive a title is, the more often it's going to be passed around from collection to collection, just because of that price point incentive. Yeah. So, anyways, this game rarely pops up for sale, CIB, or in any condition. And when it does, man, when it starts off auction style for $1, the watch count explodes on this fucking game. We're talking about like 100 people start watching it. And yet, the bid will reach a certain kind of historical value where it's like, yeah, that's price charting right there. That's kind of what it's worth. And unless it's a really minty copy, it's like the bids will just kind of like stop at a certain value. And then it'll just wait till the last minute and, you know, go up another 10% and a little fury at the end there, and little sparks flying at the end. If it's a super minty copy, it's got the registration card just a cut above your average condition, it can just absolutely pop off. And then what usually happens is more copies will come out of the woodwork after suddenly a Vapor Trail goes for $275. You'll see 3 more get listed that same week, people trying to chase the same value, but their copy won't be quite as nice. It'll sit around for a little while. Anyways, sorry to be so specific, but this is the climate of Sega Genesis. This stuff is very scarce. The demand is huge, but it's almost like, the sense I get is like the demand that's there, it's almost like they're in denial of each other's presence. Like, you motherfuckers can't feel each other right now. You guys can't feel the thirst. Like, we're only talking about $100, $200, $300 video games. That's not a ton of money for how fucking scarce and high demand this stuff is. You know, we see NES carts regularly go for $400, $500, $600, and they are much more common than these precious Genesis CIBs, where they're conditionally rare. You know, like as soon as you talk card only stuff, demand just drops and value drops. But talking CIB, Genesis shooters, talking Sagaya, talking Thunder Force 3, talking Lightning Force, talking Vapor Trail, Musha, of course, Hellfire. Fucking name them all, except for the common ones. Platformers, you got Cheeky Boys. How about Atomic Runner? How about High Seas Havoc? You know, there's a lot of Genesis to like. Sparkster, fucking Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel. A lot of these games are very, 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 very fucking tough to even get a chance to buy. And then when they pop up, it'll be like $250 for a mint one. I'm just fucking telling you, man, for as far as like good investments that you can make while having fun with video games, while acquiring stuff that's really fun to play, really flashy shit. You'll get tons of social media reactions with it. Like, go for some really fancy, nice CIB Genesis stuff, and go a little bit off the beaten path a little bit. You know, Crusader of Senti, I think, is, you know, close to $1,000 now. I was a big advocate of going for that title a couple years ago when it was like 300-400 range CIB. I fucking knew that was going to hit 1,000. And I also felt Musha was not a bad investment too, at around $400. I'm not sure where it's at now, but I would imagine close to 1,000. But I think those will continue to climb too. So you're not that bad off if you can get yourself a real nice condition copy for around retail or a little bit less, because maybe you're dealing outside of eBay. Like, those are great pieces. And I don't think you got to worry about the supply and demand imbalance changing unfavorably for you in the future. I think it's only going to get stronger, bigger separation stuff. Again, Rolling Thunder 3, there's another fucking good one. Only came out in America. There's no PAL, no Japanese version of Rolling Thunder 3. Amazing music. Pretty shitty game in my opinion. I mean, some people like it as duck and cover arcade games like Shinobi kind of. But man, there's a lot on Genesis that is just too rare. Very good games. John Hancock shit. Anyways, that's about it.